Welcome to RickRackRuby. I'm Laura Cluvo. After making a jelly roll rug, I discovered that I had a partial roll of batting left over. I gave it some thought and a little trial and error, and I created this batting roll snowman ornament. You don't even have to have a batting roll to make it. You could just cut him from scraps. He's fun and easy, so let's get started. To make the batting roll snowman ornament, the first thing to do is to create a pattern. I cut a piece of graph paper 2.5 inches wide and 5 inches tall. Then I folded it in half and rounded off the body, rounded off the face, and I left a margin at the top because when we sew this together, we'll leave the top open, stuff from the top, and gather it up. Use the pattern to cut a piece from Fusible interfacing. And then just set it on the batting roll, fuse it, and cut it out. And then cut a second pattern from just regular unfused, just regular unfused batting. Here's my fused front snowman, and here's the back. Let's embroider the face. This is a disappearing marker. The first thing I want to do is establish where the face is going to be. You might think eye, nose, mouth, but you can't really make it that high. There'll be a scarf around the neck, so I want to allow a little boundary for the neck, about 1/4 inch above the neck, and then right about halfway, so at the widest part is where I'm going to start with my eyes. I'll mark some indicators for the placement of the eyes. Eyebrow, eyebrow. The nose is a carrot, so you'll want a pointy triangle, kind of like that. And then the mouth is just a series of French knots. I try to make the mouth start out a little bit further than the eyes, just about like that. And then of course we'll blush the cheek. The eyes are embroidered with 3 strands of black floss. There are 3 stitches to the eye. Start at the bottom. All the stitches will come together at the top into sort of a triangle shape. 1, 2, and then 1 in the center. It's okay if there's a little bit of space in between the stitches because that just looks like a little bit of a sparkle and just adds to the personality. And then the eyebrow is just a straight stitch at an angle. I want you to know that the interfacing is on the back or the inside of the project, and your stitching lays on the front or the batting side. The batting has a texture. It's not perfectly smooth, it's a little bit irregular, but that just makes it fun. Now we'll do the second eye and try to make it look like the first. I'm pretty happy with that. So I'll secure this one on the back as well. And now for the carrot nose, I have 2 strands of orange floss. I'll start here at the wide end. And I'm just going to sort of satin stitch it. I don't want the stitches to be super close together. I just want it to, I want to give the impression that the carrot has those sort of lines. So I want those lines to be independent and I don't want it to be completely solid. And it's especially hard to keep the stitches vertical as you approach the point. Then I'll just continue stitching all the way out as far as I want to go. I don't think I want to go much further than the edge of that eye. There we go. It's a little bit irregular and a little bit whimsical and fun. I like it. Now for the mouth, we'll use 3 strands of red floss. I think I'll make about 7 French knots. This French knot is only wrapped 1 time. So you have 3 strands, so just wrapping 1 time around the needle is enough so that the stitch really shows. That's all you need. They don't have to be perfect. When I reinsert the needle, I don't want to go actually in the exact same hole that I made previously, because sometimes the knot can slip right through. So I try to come up in one spot, wrap, and then when I place it back into the fabric, it's just a tiny bit away from the spot where I came out. Now I'll secure my thread on the back. And we'll add some blush to the cheeks. This is just Cosmetic blush on a Q-tip. That looks good. Now right sides together, I'm going to pin and stitch with a 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around the edge. I'll be right back. Here's how it looks. And now I will carefully clip these inside curves here. I'm not going to trim the seam allowance, it's so small. There's some places where it may be a little bit less than a 1/4 inch. So I'll just snip all the way around and then turn it right side out. So far, so good. This is how it looks. And I understand that the top of the head looks a little funny, but that's going to be fine. I'm going to stuff it with polyfill and gather up the top. It always takes more stuffing than I expect, and I like it firm. Now I'll gather up the top, and I'm not going to try to go like this and then stitch it together. I'm just going to go all the way around and gather it into a circle. I'll do a running stitch about a 1/4 inch or less down from the top edge, and I'll just go all the way around. I have a doubled strand of quilting thread and a nice strong needle, and I love to use a thimble. This does not have to be perfect. It will be covered by the hat. Now I'll tie off my thread. I like to hide the knot in the back of the head. For the hat, I have cut 2 black felt ovals with my die cutting machine. You don't have to do it this way. The ovals are 3 3/4 tall and 2 3/4 wide. Here's my die that I used to cut them, and this is from Spellbinder's S4-110, and this is the largest size. Or you can just make your own pattern that is 3 3/4 tall, 2 3/4 wide, fold it into quarters and round it off. So here are my 2 felt ovals. By the way, you can use fabric for this or anything else that you like. I'm just using felt. I wanted to make this project very different from the last snowman that I made, which was knit fabric and had a lot of vintage embellishments and sweater embellishments. And so I just wanted this one to be different. So that's why I'm using different supplies. I'm going to cut a 1/2 inch off through both pieces. And then I'm going to stitch around with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And I'll be right back. I've sewn the hat, and I just want you to know that I'm using craft felt for this. It's not wool felt, it's just soft craft felt. And this is really all that I cut off from the top. This is kind of a different way to create a hat, but I tried many different ways before I settled on this. Okay, so you can see what I did. I turned it right side out, and then I folded in about 3/4 of an inch. Now I'm going to go back to the machine, and I'm going to stitch to secure this about 1/2 inch up. So about right here. Here's the hat. I've stitched all the way around, starting at the back center, and I'll try the hat on. I like to pull it down low in the back so it's tipped a little bit, and then kind of down over the face, and then flip up the brim, only in the front. Pull it up to reveal the eyebrows. I think I'm going to add a little bit of stuffing inside the hat before I commit. All right, so a little bit of stuffing, not too much. Pull it down low in the back. Pin. Pull it down over the face. Flip back the brim. The idea is to flip the brim back so that it sort of disguises the line of stitching in the front. In the back, it'll always show. And then I'll pin it. Just want to make sure those eyebrows are showing. This is a single strand of black quilting thread. We'll start in the back, and I'll secure the edge of the hat all the way around. Now I'll go around again, just to make sure that the hat is secure. The scarf is a 12-inch length of ribbon. I've chosen this red and white stripe. Before you tie on the scarf, just kind of hold it there so you can figure out where to put the buttons. I've cut 2 little 3/8 inch circles of felt. I like the buttons to be up kind of high. There's my index card. That's my pro tip, is when you're applying glue stick, to have something down to catch all the extra. This glue is blue, but when it dries, it'll be invisible. 2 little circles of felt. Now, you could use buttons, you can use stickers, you can use anything you like to decorate. I just wanted to do something different that I hadn't shown before. Now, with 3 strands of white floss, I will make, it's an X and then a vertical line. I want it to kind of look like a peppermint candy. Not exactly, it's not going to literally look like a peppermint candy, but just to give the impression. And the reason that I didn't tie the scarf on yet is because I'm going to use that spot in the neck to secure my thread. So I like to do the X, so across like this, and then over here, diagonal, and then diagonal up, and then come out in the bottom center. Good. And then to the top center. And then for the next one, diagonal. Diagonal. Diagonal, diagonal, and vertical. And then I'll come out at the back of the neck. That looks good. And I'll secure my thread back here, right where I expect the scarf to be. Now for the scarf, just take this, did I say it was 12 inches? Yes, 12 inches of ribbon. And, you know, this ribbon, it doesn't really have a right side and a wrong side. I suppose it does, but it's just not really that big of a deal. So that makes it a good choice for a project like this, because you will see the back of the ribbon. That's nice. Now I'll trim this a little bit shorter, maybe this one too. Later on, this kind of ribbon, I think it needs some fray check, so I'll go back over the ends later with fray check. And right now I'm going to add a little spot of glue right here and then fold this down. I like that. Now for a little embellishment on his hat, I have some options. A little felt snowflake. My go-to glitter holly. I love, 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 love those. And then here's sort of a glitter snowflake sticker. And I really like the look of the red snowflake sticker layered over the die-cut white felt snowflake. But you can get the same effect with just the white snowflake. So I'll glue that on opposite of the knot. And then we'll add a hanging loop from Baker's Twine. Because this snowman is made from a piece of batting that is 2.5 inches wide and 5 inches tall, you can also make this from a charm square, a 5-inch charm square. So if you have some holiday charm squares with a white background that might work for a snowman, give it a try. Thank you for watching my tutorial. If you're enjoying my videos, please like, share, and subscribe.